Allandale and Crestview are quickly becoming the rising stars of Austin real estate scene with a perfect blend of charm and convenience without sacrificing downtown proximity. But it's not just the housing options that make these neighborhoods so attractive. Allandale and Crestview boast a vibrant community spirit with local shops, restaurants and parks that cater to residents' every need. Plus, with an easy access to major highways and public transportation, commuting is a breeze. In this video, I'm going to rank them based on their convenience, surrounding and real estate factors and see how they stack against the competition. So starting with convenience, let's talk about shoppings and restaurants. Allandale and Crestview host some of my favorite restaurants in Austin. They have Buffalina Duo Pizza, they have Amy's Ice Cream, which is not as good as Jenny's, and my favorite sandwich shop, Jew Boy Sandwiches. Check them out. As you can see on the screen, there is an abundance of other restaurants as well, and you are close to downtown. So if you want to go into one of the best restaurants in Austin, it's going to take you something like 10 minutes of a drive. Other than that, you have H-E-B within walking distance, depending on where you live. You have the Alamo Draft House, you have the ice skating rink, and a bunch of nice other places to frequent. So I give it a 5 out of 6. What about transportation? So with Allandale and Crestview, you are close to both of the major highways, MOPEC and the 183. This means that everything is within proximity because you can get connected very well to the highways. But if you want to go public, the public transportation here is relatively decent as far as Austin can go. You can get to downtown in about 20 minutes for as little as $1. And it's important to mention that the light rail is zoned to go through Crestview, meaning that once it happens, this will be a super hot area, even hotter than it is today. So with all of that in mind, I give it a 5 out of 6. Moving on to hub proximity, and that's pretty much a slam dunk because you are 10 minutes away from the domain, you're 10 minutes away from downtown, you're located very, very well, and I'll give it a 5 out of 6 as well. And this means that the convenience segment is averaging 5 out of 6, which puts it in the top 30 percentile of Austin. It's an excellent score, and those care for convenience should look at Allandale and Crestview. Moving on to schools, and there are many private schools in the area, but when we talk about public schools, the situation is good, but it's not excellent, so I give it a 4 out of 6. In the parks and greenery department, I was kind of confused because on the one hand, you have a lot of trees and it's a very green neighborhood, even though it's so close to downtown, and I think that's one of the things that I really like about it. But the parks aren't that great. You have 2 major parks in the area, Sheffield and Brentwood. They're not as good as some other neighborhoods, so all in all, I'm going to give it a 3 out of 6. Moving on to community, and that's where they really hit a home run because the community in Allandale and Crestview is excellent. My clients who live there are just in love with the place, partially because it's so family oriented and you have children playing in the streets and you have people that are jogging there and it's kind of cute, and also because of the community events that they have every holiday, and all in all, I have to give it a 6 out of 6 full score. Last but not least is the crime, and the easter you go, you see a bit more incidents. Austin in general really is not suffering from too much crime, but having said that, when I compare Allandale and Crestview, and specifically Crestview, they're not ranked as high as some of the other neighborhoods, so all in all, I'm going to give it a 4 out of 6. With all of that in mind, the surrounding average score is 4.2, and it's good, but it's not that great when I compare it to all the other neighborhoods that we have in the database. Moving on to real estate, starting with affordability. In May and June, we've seen a median price point of $800,000 for a single family home that is about 1,600 square feet of size. It means that it's being sold for $500 per square foot, and that is not super affordable at all. Furthermore, most of the properties are older, from the 70s or even 50s, so if you get something that's been renovated, you're going to pay over $1 million, and if you get something that has not been renovated, it's going to be relatively old and require a big renovation typically. So with all of that in mind, I'm going to give it a 3 out of 6. What about character? And this is one of the most subjective areas of this ranking system, but I have to mention that the character in this neighborhood is excellent. One of the things that I personally really like about this area is that you're so close to downtown, but you feel like you are in a suburb. You're close to the highway, you're close to the high rises, but then again, everything is green and everything feels great. All in all, I have to give it a 5 out of 6. The last parameter is density. This this part of town is relatively dense because the land is so scarce and it's so landlocked. The average lot size is 0.19 acres. It's not tiny, but it's definitely not big. And because a lot of this neighborhood is going through gentrification, a lot of these new builds are higher, and then it feels a bit more cramped. With all of that in mind, I'm going to give it a 3 out of 6. Averaging all of these parameters out, give it a relatively low real estate score of 3.6. And it's important to note that the real estate score in my metrics is more geared towards value because all of the other great things about this location are factored in the surroundings and in the convenience. I'm not saying that it's a bad place to live or just bad real estate to own. I'm definitely not saying that, but I do say that from a sheer value for money, for the structure and the lot size, you're not getting all that much when you buy in Allandale or Crestview. Combining all of the scores gets us to a 43 out of 60, and that is a good score. The convenience factor brings Crestview and Allandale really up, while the real estate factor brings it down a notch. We're going to put somewhere on the screen a comparison between Allandale and Crestview and some other urban suburbs. If you ask for my personal opinion, I think Allandale and Crestview can really fit a young couple or maybe a young family that wants to live with proximity to downtown, have a strong community, and they can compromise on the size of the house and the size of the lot. I hope it was insightful. Where did I go wrong? What are you not agreeing with me? Let me know in the comments how would you rank it. And also let me know whether you agree that a 6-star rating system is the best rating system in the world. By the way, it had been proven in science. Last but not least, if you're considering to move to Austin, invest in Austin, or just want to consult with me, feel free to reach out. You have my contact information below. Thank you so much for watching, and I'll see you on the next one. Urban suburbs. Urban, urban. זה מה שאמרתי, no? I can't say urban suburb, I just, accent.